People express themselves in a multitude of ways. Some do by words, but others by art. Now this art does not have to be a standard pen and paper drawing. Hell, most aren't. Art can come in the form of video, maybe even sculpting, and even some by the games they create. Today we're going to be talking about Kinder, a small indie horror RPG and the death of its creator. Let us start from the beginning. Kinder was released back in 2003 by developer Parun, but received an English translated version known as Kinder years later. Kinder follows the path of the protagonist Shunsuke, an elementary level student looking to visit his grandparents. He'd like to be better, but he hasn't been sleeping well. Often he is visited by recurring nightmares of a mysterious boy by the water. We don't learn much as this dream is abrupted by his alarm clock, and his mother who later sends him off to the bus to leave for the day. He spends a few days at his grandparents' and mentions that he had a fantastic time. Everything seemed great. Well, Shunsuke had to return home eventually, and when he does, it's not quite the destination he hoped. It's his hometown, but something's different. The town is left grim and dark, with no one in sight. He tries to visit his home, but is greeted with something far more sinister than he would imagine. His dead mother hanging above the doorframe. Fast forward and we soon find our character with a group of school children, the only survivors left in this now desolate town. These children aid you for the rest of the game, but only for as long as you keep them alive. See, Kinder challenges players to be very thoughtful of words used and the scenery of the levels. They even tell you this ahead of time. Almost all children are capable of living, but also dying. Their destiny lies in your decisions. Most games typically try to avoid child deaths, while Kinder is unsettlingly very front and center with it. You can even look in the menu and see the exact grade the child is in. I don't think this serves any purpose besides letting you know the age of the child you inevitably killed. Sadly, Kinder is bound by the limits of an RPGMaker. This means that the graphics can only be so frightening and disturbing. Even with this barrier, Parun did not hold back and pushed the limit as far as he could. Although it's rather pixelated, we can find rather gruesome imagery. Some being of a scalped man with his hands cut off, and many unsettling enemy designs. If it wasn't for this barrier, I feel as if Kinder would truly receive the recognition it deserves. Kinder covers many topics and social dilemmas, such as suicide, divorce, depression, mental illness, and even bestiality. This is mostly in the form of text and satire, with the children explaining their parents' hardships and the antagonist taunting the players to kill themselves. It's somewhat depressing hearing the children explain these types of concerns at such a young age. Many go into detail on how their mothers have been slowly disintegrating and dying by the day, with their fathers either being abusive, showing no care, or resorting to cheating. Some even dive into thoughts of suicide due to their parents' actions, with one young girl going as far as to have a gun ready on hand in the event that she wants to go. The story is very dark and depressing, and I would encourage a playthrough for those who want a very thought-provoking journey into the psychological effects on the youth in a horror setting. I don't want to spoil too much of the game, so let's take a step back and look at the creator. Who is Parun? Parun, aka Horofuki Yokocho, excuse me if that's an incorrect pronunciation, was not new to the indie dev scene. He developed a few other similar games such as High Side Pistol Show, but very little is known about him. He does have a website, but it's difficult to translate as it's not in English and only a few sections are translatable. Although we do not know much about his past, we do unfortunately know the grim conclusion of his future. Parun committed suicide. On September 10th of 2010, almost exactly 11 years ago today, Parun was reported dead after jumping off the 9th floor of his house. While there is no exact confirmation that this is 100% true, statements from Parun's father has been given over the years, and Parun has been inactive on his blog since September 7th of 2010. Some begin to wonder if Kinder came from a place close to home. Not necessarily in the broken family aspect, as it seems that Parun had a fantastic relationship with his father, but rather in the form of depression and hopelessness. After playing the game and hearing the full story, there is one character that immediately came to mind. Spoilers ahead. There's a character named Aya who occasionally gets lost in her own mind. She runs off numerous times, with her reason being that she just wants to get away from the world. She's clearly suffering from depression and often questions whether she should take her own life. Well, in one instance, we find Aya lost yet again. We search a nearby building and find her atop the roof, standing by the ledge. She tells us that she wants to jump, that she just wants to leave this world and take her own life. We end up talking her off the ledge, but this connection is rather unnerving. I don't want to make any more assumptions or connections, as I feel that this would be disrespectful to Parun. No one can determine what was going through his mind except him. I just share my sympathy with his friends and family and hope that he's finally reached some form of peace. I hope you enjoyed. If you want to play this game for yourself, I will leave a link in the description. I also want to take a moment to thank everyone for the recent support and encouragement that has found its way to my channel. It truly means the world to me, and I can't express my gratefulness enough. I will eventually be making a video expanding upon this, but until then, again, thank you. I'll see you soon.